Hey, moviegoers, Demetri Panos here, along with my great, wonderful, gracious co-host and friend, Kit Bowen, for another episode of KDM, which, if you haven't figured it out already, stands for Kit. Hi, Kit.
Hi,
Demetri.
Demetri.
That's
Hi.
me. Movies, and that's what we will be discussing in today's episode. We will be putting the pedal to the metal alongside Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. So, and how we always start this off, we actually putting the key into the ignition. I vroom it over to Kit for our initial thoughts before we get into dialogue about the movie. Hi, Kit.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
So I saw it last night in Dolby. It was
Yes.
very exciting, very action packed, very octane, high octane, as I like to say. Um, so yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. Now, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I loved Fury Road. Fury Road, I feel like was sort of you know, an anomaly to some of these action movies because it was literally just from word go. You never stopped with the action, And then this one, it's definitely takes its time a little bit to, give us the backstory of Furiosa and how she's taken and, thrown into the wastelands, so to speak, and becomes who she becomes when we see her in Fury Road. So, um, but I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed the ride. Uh, it was a little long. And I feel like, focusing on the younger Furiosa, it took a lot of time before it became Anna Joy Taylor Joy. What is it? Taylor Joy?
Anya, Anya Taylor-Joy.
That's it. Anya Taylor Joy. I just kind
That's
of kept
it.
waiting for her to show up. So it took a little bit of time, although I thought the young little actress who played young Furiosa was quite good. She definitely was resembled Anya, and there was a nice transition there. Of course, I feel like the standout was definitely Chris Hemsworth. He with prosthetic nose at all, playing the bad guy. The meat. No, what's his name?
Dementor.
Demetis. Doctor
Dementus.
Dementis. Yes,
That's what I thought too, is Dr. Dementus, but
Doctor
it was
Dementis.
Warlord Dementus.
Warlord. Well, he says Doctor Dementis under IMDb, so and we've got some of the same players returning to us, prior to their Fury Road appearances, including Angus Sampson, who plays like the organic mechanic, because that's what his name is. Nathan Jones, who plays Rictus Erectus. We do have a new Immortan Joe, though, because I guess the guy who played him in Fury Road was the actor from the very first Mad Max. You knew that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Look, George Miller knows how this is his universe. We're just living in it. I mean, he has created it. He has improved upon it. It's, there's just unbelievable action. This time around, like I said, though, not as much action as I wanted. I don't know. I guess I'm used to it being nonstop. So the slow parts were a little like, I was waiting for the next, big action sequences. I'm curious what you thought about some of the CG in the action sequences. If you noticed it being a little bit more over the top than usual, or I mean, because I didn't really notice it that much, but I have heard some complaint, some criticism on that. But overall, absolutely worthy of telling her story. She is a fascinating character. Lots of little nods to original Mad Max, Fury Road, everything, which is nice. Um, so yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
Cool. Well, look, I think that uh Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, it really proves that George Miller has plenty of gas left in the tank into your to take from you, and it's high octane gas for sure. It ain't that diesel or summer blend crap. And it is, and it's done with a great fury and style. I saw it in IMAX, and it was amazing. So, yes, it does not have that kinetic Fury action that Fury Road has. But I would argue a couple of things. Number one, I nearly a film does. Okay.
That's what I'm
To
saying.
be
Yeah.
honest. Okay. And something very fascinating that I'm gonna throw at you right now. Fury Road covers 3 days and 2 nights.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Fury Road covers a very short period of time. Furiosa, on the other hand, covers 15 years. So this is actually one of the aspects that I really loved about Furiosa and further garners my respect for George Miller. It has to be a completely different narrative, and it has to be a different narrative style. Um, Fury Road's a quick hit when you think about it, right? You go in and it's bang, 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 bang. There are characters that come in. The writing is really solid in Fury Road. But here is something that you may not know. So when they were writing Fury Road and they developed the character of Furiosa, uh, Nico Lathimos, I believe is his name, and George Miller, believe it or not, they actually wrote out the story and screenplay of Furiosa before they even yelling action on Fury Road.
Mm.
They had an entire backstory which they shared with Charlize Theron, and I just found that crazy. So, you know, the way I look at it too is we are focused on two different characters in these movies. Number one, Fury Road is Mad Max, right?
Right.
We've been following Mad Max in his chapters of adventure throughout. Furiosa is more of it's an odyssey. Like
Hmm.
Max is an odyssey to an extent, but I don't think it's quite done yet. I mean, at least at the end of Fury Road, as in all the other Mad Max movies, he's on his own again, um, on a walkabout through the wasteland, where this movie gives Furiosa an ending. If they choose to write more of the character, they can, but I also believe that as a prequel, I think it is as near perfect a prequel as that you can get. It was a movie that for me, I enjoyed it more after seeing it, and the more I thought about it, did go back and watch Fury Road again. And watching the events unfold in Fury Road, knowing what I know about Furiosa, the character now, and with Mad Max and the events that take place in Fury Road, to me makes Furiosa all the more, if not, well, she's equally a tragic a character as our other hero, Mad Max. And it's kind of crazy. And there's still a search. There's a search for that home. There's a search for hope. There's a search for something that, in a sense, Furiosa finds, but our main hero, Mad Max, it still eludes him, so to speak. So I really loved the switch in narrative and the change in narrative here. Do I think
Well,
that, like you, that it
well,
was too long? Yeah, I mean, 2.5 hours is a bit long, but I did love how it started off with the 10-year-old Furiosa. I thought that she was great and building up to that story. Again, when you parallel her and Mad Max now, she too is fraught with tragedy and loss, much
mhm.
like Max's. And
Yeah.
I really love that aspect of the movie and watching her grow, becoming like Anya Taylor Joy, who I thought was fantastic, by the ways.
Yeah.
And you could see her growing into the Charlize Theron.
Well, they kind
Furious.
of sort of take you right up to the moment, pretty much.
I mean, really, they do. Really, they
Yeah.
do.
So I thought that was interesting that I thought maybe there was some more time even between Anya's character and then who she becomes as Charlize. But no, it
Hmm.
looks like they just kind of went right into it. But
Right.
that's okay. I mean, that's fine.
And again, I found it brilliant because
But it's
unlike
not
some
Charlize.
other, it's not Charlize, but what I found brilliant is how smooth they make the transitions, right? Unlike some other prequels that, might take place in some other galaxy and they seem to ignore the rules or what had taken place before them, and they seem to make shit up on their own. Right here, George Miller and company really don't necessarily do that, although I do have a question for you. Um, and they make like I say, they really give more heft, more emotional heft to Furiosa and what she learns in Fury Road. To me, her primal scream is even more
Yeah.
felt.
I just feel like it could have been tightened a little bit more. And
Hmm.
because, we've got, I thought the first whole part of it with, I guess, Chris Hemsworth's character's a bit of a, opportunist, we should say. And so he's got his own
Sure.
sort of clan, and he runs up against Morton Joe and the Citadel, and he's like, "Oh, I want that." And then there's this whole quest for dominance and power and that kind of thing, which is fine. I mean, that makes sense, in the narrative. But I just, I guess I just wanted a little more of a cut between the young to Anya's character a little quicker,
Hmm.
because the little girl is she's with Chris Hemsworth, and then she's with Morton Joe, and then and then that kind of all that, how she aspires to be who she aspires to be. But yeah, I mean, like I said, this is definitely not Fast and Furious, so to
No.
speak. It is not. It's a slow grow, and I guess the way George Miller has crafted this universe, it makes sense to maybe step back. I just think people might expect it to be kind of like Fury Road, and want a little more of the action to it, like we got with that one, but not necessarily to the detriment of the film, to take it easy and take it slower a little bit, but just
Yeah, I mean,
just
again, when you're
tighten,
telling a
just tighten.
when you're telling a 15-year story, right? Again, I'm not saying that the movie deserved 2.5 hours. Don't get me wrong, but it's 15 years as opposed to 3 days. So I really appreciated that, and the action to me is very unparalleled to everything that we've gotten this year. It's. I so hope like we're getting this stunt appreciation from the Academy. I know that Hollywood Creative Alliance, we have done this. And, it started off with like the Fall Guy, and they make a line like, do you guys get any Academy Awards? No. But I look at a movie like The Fall Guy, which I also really enjoyed and thought it was a lot of fun. And I look at the
Yep.
stunts in that, but I look at the stunts in this movie again, and I like there are action sequences in this and Furiosa again that George Miller was like, hey, you know what? If you thought the truck chase scene in Mad Max 2 Road Warrior was
Oh,
amazing. Wait till you see what I have here, because it's
well,
virtually
that's
almost it's the same setup almost, right? That truck
well,
chase, and it's
well. The thing
amazing.
is that he got to use. I mean, George Miller was like a kid in a candy shop when he got to do Fury Road. I mean, he didn't have any of the technology that he wanted probably when he made Road Warrior, and he still made that movie incredibly action
Oh,
packed. But when he had now in this day and age being able to make Fury Road the way he made it, it was just it's like Denis Villeneuve making Dune. I mean, it's the same kind of
mm-hmm,
thing. You have
sure.
just all of this amazing technology at your fingertips to really create. Although I know Miller definitely prides himself on not using a whole lot of CG in
Right.
his stuff. I mean, he's a little old school on that. I have to
Yes.
tell a story about Road Warrior though, because
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I was in college. It came out in 80 what 80.
Have to look it up, but Go on and I'll come up with it, but yes.
So I was in this club, like a
What kind of
like a
club?
it was like a sort of a bar, but there was dancing. And they had this
Okay.
big, there was this one whole like little side area that was a little quieter, away from the dance floor, and they had a big screen in there, and they were playing Road Warrior on the screen, and I
Oh,
didn't know anything about this movie. I didn't know. What did you get the air?
so wait, well, I do, but I want to know what year you're talking about. And so you were with some college mates at
Not
a
81,
nightclub, 1981. So
81.
this was 1981 that you're talking. So this wasn't like after 81. This was 81.
It was after 81.
Okay,
Okay,
because
so
Matt,
because
because Road Warrior came out in 81.
right. So
So
this
you're
was
like, what are
something
we
that had already,
watching here?
yeah,
Right.
this was
Okay.
something that had already been out. It was a cult
Right.
class. At that point, it was starting to gain its cultness. Um, and I'd never seen the original Mad Max. I may have heard of them, but I never saw them. Okay, so
Hmm.
this time, so I'm probably just a freshman or something in college, 82, 83. And I am watching this on, and I was mesmerized. I'm like, what is this movie? Why don't I know about this movie? What is it? And I could care less about it. My friends are like drinking and dancing. I'm like, I'm watching this movie, guys. What is this? And nobody knew what it was.
Don't bother me. I'm watching.
Oh my God. It was so interesting. And then, of course, I finally saw it and I went, okay, now I get it. Now I get it. Because, I mean, the first Mad Max was very indie, an Australian film because everyone's Australian. Mel Gibson's just a young up and comer at that point. And, it was a kind of a post apocalyptic type story. He plays a cop, we got the whole backstory on him. He loses his wife and young son and all of that. And you got a really bad guy played by the guy who plays Morton Joe in Fury Road. And you just it's just this gross and kind of the cuts are really jerky, and it was kind of like an indie, really indie feel to it, and I love Australian films for that. Sometimes they have that feel to them. So, and then Road Warrior comes out and it becomes basically eventually a huge hit, because I don't know how much money it made when it first was released, probably not a lot, but it gained, and gained.
Well, that's what happened with
And
Mad Max too.
yeah,
Mad
yeah,
Max built a cult
yeah,
following, which led
right.
into him wanting to do Road Warrior,
And then the
and
third one is the one that everybody just goes, "Oh, come on," which
but it's the
I
one it's the
I still
one
liked
that
it.
broke through. It's like it broke through into a
Right,
very commercial sense.
right, right.
I like Thunderdome.
Yeah,
I think Thunderdome stands up with the within that Mad Max saga of it
absolutely,
all.
absolutely.
So
Yes,
I like it. And
yeah,
there are aspects of, like, he almost pays homage to his past. I think,
yes,
and he does it very slyly. And if you have been paying attention, you kind of catch certain things going on. And
yes,
it's kind of cool. I thought it was
yeah,
kind of cool.
yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, Thunderdome definitely wasn't. I mean, it was. I think it was a box office hit, but
Yeah,
you
it
had
did well.
Tina Turner.
Oh,
You had some more big names in it, but yeah, and it
and it was
also.
studio
But the
backed
thing about
too.
it, yeah, the thing about it though that's interesting is that what happens in that movie is what haunts Max in Fury Road. So with the children and everything. So that movie has to exist
Hmm.
for Fury Roads to get a full understanding of what Max is going through, his
Right.
his turmoil, which is
Right.
great. And you're
Oh yeah.
right. Miller doesn't. He's like, I'm gonna put every movie I've put out here about this universe, I'm gonna take from. Even if this
Yeah.
movie was considered, was critically panned or whatever, I'm still not gonna ignore it,
Right.
because
Which I
it's.
love.
I know he's good at that. He's very good at that.
It, and I also am going to throw this out there too, is that I think, I put him up there. I put him in the ranks of Christopher Nolan and like James Cameron, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, here's why. You look at what Christopher Nolan did in the Batman universe, and he made that his own with his trilogy, right? He created that world, right? Even though you could say, oh, well, Dark Knight trilogy, Nolan created that world. He created a really great narrative with nods to to the source material,
Right.
right? And then you look at what Cameron has done in some of his movies, right? Cameron playing in the alien world, right? And what he did with Aliens, it's
Yeah.
still Ridley Scott, but he expanded it, right? You
Yeah.
look what he did with Terminator and Terminator 2, he expands upon his own world. And then, of course, what he's done with Avatar thus far, he's created a world and it has these characters in it. And George Miller here has created this wasteland,
Right.
and he gives reason for what happened, why it happened. There's a great line, "We've all become Half-Life," which I
Yes.
love that quote. And he stays to it. He doesn't change much. And in Furiosa, we see the Bullet Farm, we see Gastown.
Yeah.
Like we
I
know
liked
of
that.
Gastown because of Road Warrior,
Yep.
right? And
And
it
Fury
when you
Road.
in Fury Road, and when you look at what Mad Max as a character, he's a really tragic character. Nothing goes
Yes.
easy for this guy,
No.
right? Nothing at all. Even in Fury Road, the movie opens up with him being captured,
Yep.
and Furiosa is a little bit different. I do love the fact that she was fleshed out before they started filming Fury Road. And here, all the set pieces that certain things lead into these set pieces, I just found to be quite amazing.
Yeah.
And I think he's just built this world that is, it's really, we don't see it too much today, and more should be given credit. I know it is an IP and at this point, a franchise, yet it still comes off as fresh, and he
Yeah.
never repeats himself in a
Yeah.
sense.
That's true. That's
And
very true.
he's
That,
very
but
good.
I'm just managing people's expectations about Furiosa because it is different,
It's
and
different.
it's not as high packed
It,
action as Fury Road was. So
no, there's more going into it. But when I learned that, oh, because again, I never really gave it much thought. Like, but yeah, Fury Road takes 3 days. 3 days. So
yeah.
how do you tell a story in 3 days? And then you just watch it and you go, yeah, that's 3 days. And then this one's
Yeah.
15 years. So you got to spread that out some. Now, 2.5 hours, it could have been 2 hours and 10 minutes. I don't
Mhm.
know where to cut. I'm not an editor. But again,
I
I
know
thought
where
the
to cut.
performances were great. Well, see, I like the stuff with the 10-year-old Furiosa because again, that sets up
But you
her
didn't need it. You
initial
didn't
track.
need it. All of that.
I did. I personally believed you did. I mean, I think you did
All I know
because
is
it sets
but
up as
my
her
feeling
mom.
was I was just sitting there waiting for Anya to show up. That's it. It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
get it.
set up,
Get
it's
it. She's
set
a
up her
kid. Get
mom.
it. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. I get
but
it.
it also sets
Where's
up the
Anya?
tragedy of the character, and it also sets up the Greenland.
Yeah, but that's
The
I'm
green
saying
place.
all of that's
But
fine, but just cut the kid part and get Anya on there. That
but you
was all I
also
was.
need to, and you also need to set up Dementis here, who I see. I looked at Dementis as being, um, he was definitely more brawn than intellect. He wasn't the smartest bulb in the tree,
No.
and you could kind of tell he had a sympathy for the young Furiosa. It
Oh
reminded him
yeah.
perhaps of his daughter, and you got that, which was kind of cool. But he wasn't the sharpest knife in the draw,
He just
and
wanted power. It
he
was
just
just
wanted
power.
power, but he didn't really know how to obtain it. Or like
No.
somebody like a Mortgage Joe who sets up the Citadel. I mean,
Yeah.
Dementis pissed off everybody.
Right.
Like they're like going, so I just found that Hemsworth it was actually great to see Hemsworth outside of Thor, even though
Oh yeah.
his
For
cape,
sure.
if you noticed, his cape was very Thor-like, and I
Yeah.
wondered if that was on purpose, but I thought he was great.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I did too.
he was a lot of fun to watch on screen. Anya Taylor-Joy was really good. And I also enjoyed the Praetorian
Jack,
character, Praetorian Jack, who is kind of our Mad
mentor.
Max in this movie, and he's
Yeah,
Furiosa's mentor, so to speak.
yeah,
I liked that. Tom Burke was
yep.
Praetorian Jack, and he
I
was
liked
the
that too.
driver of that Citadel war rig. I liked him.
Yeah.
He was good, and I felt he was needed.
Oh
And
yeah,
again,
absolutely. Had to teach her.
yeah, and when you watch Fury Road, the relationship between Furiosa and Max somewhat becomes a little similar
Hmm.
to Praetorian Jack. And
Yeah,
it
she sees that in Max for sure. Yeah,
correct. Yeah. And and this is why I really love this as a prequel. Um, it inspired me to rewatch Fury Road again, and I appreciated Fury Road all the more because this story now exists.
yeah,
And I think that they can almost play almost as one. Um, and watching this in IMAX, with Fury Road 2 was also filmed in 3D. This one was not. You said you saw it in Dolby. Dolby is listen, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's tough for me to pick whether I'll see a movie in IMAX or in Dolby, because I think Dolby is an
oh yeah,
amazing format to watch any movie.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's
I don't
great
know
to
why
get you.
they don't. I don't know why they don't have the reclining seats in IMAX. I think they should.
It could be
Well,
part of
maybe
it could
because
be
of
the
the
sound and because
yeah,
of the
and also the
size of
size.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But I find at least, and again, I don't get paid for this, at least the AMC IMAX theaters that I've been into, their seats are comfortable. I mean, they
yeah.
rock, they recline, they're cushy, they're nice.
I
They're
know.
what
I
they
like
should
to.
be.
I love to lean back, put my feet up, kind of curl up into the chair, move
Yeah,
around.
I can't do
That's
that. It's
just
not my,
me.
I mean, I don't mind the reclining seats. I rarely ever use them. I don't know. I'm not on my couch or living room, but I get it. But I love Dolby. I love
Yeah.
that
So
format.
definitely, you need to see this on a big format for sure.
Oh,
Definitely.
hell yeah. I mean,
So
as
what?
much as you
So what
like
would you
your,
give this rating?
oh, for me, easy. It's four pedals to the metal. I give it four
Oh, we go up
out
to
of
five,
five.
don't we?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, 4 out of 5.
And I'm thinking four. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah,
Oh,
I give it
okay.
four. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Why
Even
wouldn't
more
you give it 5?
again, I feel that it's not exactly perfect. I think that it does run a little too long. So but again, it doesn't take away my enjoyment of this movie. And I think that it's a very, very good movie. When I first walked out, I thought maybe I was like, yeah, it took a while. There was a lot of conversation and mulling over. And the more I thought about it and the more I learned about it and then watching Fear, I liked it more. So I
Gotcha.
was gonna probably give it almost like a 3. I know you like to work in halves, so maybe a 3.5, but I ultimately a 4. I agree with you. It does run a little long.
Yeah, I'd
It's
give
two
it
and
a
a half
4 too.
hours. Yeah.
I'd give it a 4 as well,
2.5 hours
for
is long,
sure. Yeah.
you know? It's
So get the comfy
it's long.
seats. I'm just
But
kidding.
I was gonna say, but you had the comfy seat, so that doesn't bother you.
I was chilling.
Yes, you should have been. The audience seemed to like it. Your
Yeah.
audience like it. Yeah, yeah.
Especially when some things popped up from Fury Road, like the weird guy with the guitar and the
Oh
fire and
yeah,
stuff.
the
Everybody cheered
goof.
when he showed up.
He's known as the Goof Warrior. That one. Yeah. So it's listen. If you're a fan of Mad Max, if you're a fan of these movies, I don't believe Furiosa. Um, I believe you'll enjoy Furiosa.
For
I
sure.
like this character. I liked how Anya Taylor-Joy played it. Do you know she only has like 30 lines of dialogue throughout the
Yeah, she doesn't
entire
talk
movie?
much.
That's kind of crazy. Oh, here's the question I wanted to ask you. Um, the question. So this is all about trying to go back home to the green place.
What do you think
She's
happens
doing
to the green place?
no, well, we know what happens to the green place from Fury Road. We know
I
what
know,
happens.
but
But
what
no,
does
my
happen exactly? It's just the
it
environment just
gets
finally,
raped, the environment just kills
yeah,
it, becomes like that, yeah, that
yeah,
desolate oil, tar, whatever. It's like the La Brea tar pits, except a lot
yeah.
bigger. So she's doing a star map tattoo in her arm. Now, we don't see this map in Fury Road. I was looking for it. Was that, I was trying to think what arm it was on, because was it on the arm that we know that she
I think
loses
it
because,
was
yeah, I think it was. Okay, so it was. All right. I wanted some semblance of confirmation because I was
yeah,
like, how
because
come
you
it's not?
never see it again in Fury
Yeah,
Road, so had to have been on that arm. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It was very interesting how all that played out.
yes,
And you were kind of looking for it and waiting for it.
yep, you sure are.
So, yeah, so there we go. I
Yep,
think that I thought we filled the tank up quite nicely with
we
this
sure
one.
did. We sure did. We
Yeah.
sure did. So let's
So,
yeah, so we'll hopefully come back soon with another
yeah, I
edition
hope
of
so.
KDM. I'll be traveling a little
Absolutely,
bit,
we
but
will. We will
hopefully we
have,
can sneak something in.
it's the start of summer. I think there's a few movies between now and say September, October that we will be
Yeah,
covering for you. Thank you very much,
absolutely.
everybody.
Thank
Kid, it's
you.
always a pleasure. Uh, thank you to the audience for clicking in. What did you think of Furiosa? Please say
What I was
so in the
that.
comments.
Yep.
Let us know what your favorite Mad Max movie is. Did you like Fury Road, and how and how Furiosa leads into it? And did you like Thunderdome?
Yeah.
That's
Right. Yes.
another
Let us
good
know
one.
what your thoughts about Thunderdome.
So
Thanks.
we appreciate your time. We appreciate you clicking in. Thank you very much. And
Thank you,
hey,
everybody.
start of summer. Woohoo! We'll
Woohoo! Here we
talk later.
go.
See you
Start
soon.
engines. Bye.